Beef tenderloin is boring.
Oh my gosh.
I'll say it again, beef tenderloin is boring. So today we're gonna ramp it up. We're gonna stuff this with a homemade stuffing. I'm gonna show you every step along the way to make one of the best smoked beef tenderloins that you can possibly make. Now let's get started. All right, so we have about a 2-pound center cut beef tenderloin. So this is the part where filet mignon is basically gonna come from. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not a filet guy. You know why? Because it lacks flavor, it lacks personality. That's why whenever I go to a restaurant, I'm ordering a ribeye. Well, today we're gonna dive into this, take a different approach, and we're gonna stuff this. But the first thing that we need to do is butterfly it. Now, you can ask the butcher to do this, or you can get yourself a sharp knife and get your center cut here. And essentially all we want to do is slice into this, and you wanna just slowly unravel this at the same time that you're cutting it. And if you go through, not a big deal, because we're gonna tie this back together. And just keep an eye on how thin you're making it. You want it to be something about like so. And because a tenderloin also isn't exactly the same diameter at each end, you're gonna kind of have to get it at a little bit of an angle, or you will end up cutting through it. But you're gonna continue doing just like this. And just slowly unraveling it. Just like that. And you'll see I actually did end up making a hole through it, but the reality is in the center it's not gonna matter because we're gonna be rolling this back up. Now, some people will pound this out and even it out. This is tenderloin. This should be so tender we don't need to pound it out. So now what we need to do is season the meat. Now today, we're gonna be seasoning the inside with the Bearded Butcher's Brock Lesnar blend. This is one of my absolute favorites when it comes to beef. It's got a great blend of spices, salt, and pepper, and it's just pairs so good with beef. So we're gonna give a nice little coating on the inside. Don't go too crazy, but it's all right. Now that we've got it seasoned, we're actually gonna be adding some slices of Swiss cheese. Now, we're gonna stay about a little less than a ½ an inch away from the edges because we are gonna need to roll this up a little bit. We're gonna go something like this. With this, it's gonna be about 4 slices of cheese. Then we're gonna take my homemade stuffing. This stuffing right here is bacon, shallots, mushrooms, bacon fat, a little bit of butter, spinach, breadcrumbs, and it is a great savory stuffing. And so we're just going to put this into this. And I'm gonna stay away from the edge, but honestly, I'm gonna get it as close to the edge as possible because I want flavor to be consistent throughout. I don't want these boring end cuts. The only thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save about 1 inch of bare meat at the end, and that's really where I'm gonna seal it up. When we tie it tight with that butcher's twine, that's how we're gonna kind of lock all of this in. Now with this stuffing, I'm gonna put the recipe down in the description, but it's super simple, super easy. But now that we have everything prepared here in front of us, now is where we put our money where our mouth is. And we need to just kind of tightly pinch, and it's gonna get tough because there's a lot of stuff down in here. You may even need to pack it down a little bit. But we need to roll this. Nice and tight, like so. And I'm going to try and pack in any of that stuffing that I can from the sides. And then I'm gonna take my butcher's twine here. I'm gonna cut myself a couple pieces. I'm gonna slip it under the ends. We're gonna go about 1 inch from the end. Typically I cross it over and tie it on the other end, but I'm afraid this is gonna open up. Now one trick that I found is that if you go under a second time, it'll actually keep the pressure. So see, look, when I let it go, it really doesn't uncinch. So I'm gonna pull this nice and tight. Then I'm gonna tie a knot in that. Gonna go to the other side here. Slip it underneath just like so. We're gonna go about 1 inch in. And this is the narrower end. So I just wanna be careful with squeezing all this stuffing out, but we should be pretty good. See, it stayed nice and tight. Tie that knot, cut the loose end off, and I'm actually gonna put one more around the center. And we're gonna get this right into the center, even it out, double under, tie it nice and tight. Now it's time to season the outside. I'm gonna start off with an olive oil binder, and I'm just gonna put a little bit on my glove. And we just want a nice little tacky, shiny finish on this beef tenderloin. And this is just gonna help that rub stick, and it looks pretty good. And today for the rub, we're gonna be using the Bearded Butcher's Butter Blend. This is also a great steak or beef rub. I'll have links down in the description to both of these. Once again, these are two of my favorite beef rubs. And I'm just gonna kind of roll this and pat this rub down into the meat as I go around. And I'm still trying to be careful because I don't want all that stuffing to come out. Some on the end will probably come out though. We've got this thing stuffed, we've got this thing seasoned, and we've got this thing tied up. I've got the Lone Star Grillz pellet grill running at 225 degrees. Let's get this thing onto the smoker. We're over at the smoker here with this stuffed beef tenderloin. Remember, we're not looking for boring, we're looking for fantastic, and that's exactly what this is gonna be. Now let's open up this Lone Star Grillz pellet grill, and let's get this beef tenderloin right down in here. And I'm gonna put the thicker and a little bit closer to the heat source, but we're gonna be going about mid-smoker here. It keeps it indirect, and as you can see, I have a little skillet with some butter and some garlic and some herbs down in the smoker as well. Once that rub sets up, we're gonna be basting that just to make it even better. It's gonna be a little while. We're gonna get a probe in this. We're gonna go back inside because it's cold. We'll see you in a bit. All right, we've reached about 95 degrees internal. The rub here on this tenderloin has sat up. It's time to get this basted with some butter. Now, I'm not gonna brush it on, I'm gonna drizzle it on. I don't wanna mess with that rub. I don't wanna rub it off. Even though it seems to be pretty intact, we're just gonna drizzle this garlic butter onto this beef tenderloin. All right, we'll get this closed. All right, we're gonna turn this up to 450 degrees. Now that we've got that turned up to 450 degrees, I'm gonna pull this probe out of here, and I'm gonna carefully pick up this tenderloin. I'm gonna get it off the smoker just until this gets up to temperature, because we need to sear it. Now, while we don't have anything in the smoker, we're gonna pull this grate out. And I need to get a hold of this sear plate and slide it open so that it exposes the fire, because that is what we're gonna be putting the tenderloin above. And then we'll get this rack closed up again. We need to be careful with these thermometer wires, but we're good. We're gonna get this shut, let the temperature come up a little bit. All right, this grill is up to temp. We've got some direct flames here, you can see it. We're gonna put this right on top. Honestly, we're probably not even really gonna close the grill because I wanna keep an eye on it. You can hear it sizzling. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna rotate it. We're gonna turn it. We don't want it to burn. We don't want it to overcook. And I'm just gonna slowly rotate this. I'm gonna check the temperature here. We still got a little bit more time. Now this is the side here that has the opening basically that we've tied shut. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on this side because I don't want any of that stuffing or juice is really dripping out of there. All right, it is time to get this off here. We're gonna get it into a pan. We're gonna let it rest for about 15 minutes. And just like that, our smoked and stuffed beef tenderloin is done. We smoked this thing at 225 degrees, seared it with that sear plate open on that Lone Star Grillz pellet grill, and we got it to about 128 degrees in the thickest part. We let this rest for about 15 minutes, and it is time to cut into it and see how we did. Now I can tell you, it smells incredible. Oh man, is that tender. I'm trying to be careful. I don't want to smash it. I don't want to do anything to harm that beautiful look right there. You can see that is perfect medium rare, and it is time to give that a little try. So I'm going to cut a slice of that, and it's already unraveling. So I'm gonna cut a little piece, get a little bit of that stuffing, get a little bit of that tenderloin, and we're gonna give it a try. That is incredibly tender, incredibly tasty. Hands down, this is the best tenderloin that I've had. It's savory, it's delicious, it's incredibly juicy. That stuffing pairs so well with that beef. It's by far my favorite beef tenderloin. If you're looking for a way to spice up the holidays and not have that boring and the beef tenderloin, this is the way to do it. This stuffed and smoked beef tenderloin. Now, if you like this video and you want to see more like it, then I suggest you subscribe to the channel and check out this video right here.